Hello, Algebra 1. Today we're going to look at 9.2, solving radical equations. In class, today you're going to learn some new vocabulary, and that new vocabulary is an extraneous solution. And an extraneous solution is a solution that does not satisfy the original problem. We'll say equation. So what happens is, and this happens fairly often in math, I suppose, you'll solve a problem, you'll get multiple answers, but only some of them work. Only some of them actually work in the original equation. So that comes up today, which is kind of an interesting idea, extraneous solutions. So class, today, so you've previously learned how to solve quadratics by square rooting. Well, today we're going kind of the other direction with it. We're starting out with a square root, and then you're going to undo that. So for our first example here, you're going to subtract the 5 over, get square root of x by itself, and then from there you'll square both sides and get x is equal to 64. In class, no worries about an extraneous solution here, but it's always a good idea, and I'll tell you why. It's always a good idea to check your answers. Square root of 64 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. It totally checks out. So, yeah, we're good. On this next one, you're going to get this square root by itself. And to get there, you're going to subtract the 3 over first, divide by 4, and then from there, you can square both sides, and you get x plus 2 equals 16, minus the 2 over, and x is equal to 14. And again, on this one, no worries about an extraneous solution. I'll go ahead and tell you why. As long as there's just an x under the radical, there's not going to be a chance for an extraneous solution. When you got to worry about an extraneous solution is when you have an x under the radical and on the outside. That's where there's a chance for an extraneous solution. But anyway, on example 2, this is getting a little more complicated. We've got x's on both sides, but they're both under the square roots. I'm ready to square both sides and get 2x minus 1 is equal to x plus 4. And then we can solve this equation pretty quick, get the x's together. And we get x is equal to 5. And again, you can check your answers. Those will work. It'll work the equation will be equal. So yeah, you get square root of 9 here is 3, and then over here you get square root of 9. 3 equals 3. It satisfies it. All right, let's try the next one. No big deal here. And yeah, I get 8. 24 plus 1 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5. 8 times 4 is 32. 32 minus 7 is 25. 25. Square root of 25 is 5. So it totally works on both sides there. And then finally we get to examples 3. I ain't got nothing back there. Okay. Example 3 talks about an extraneous solution can be found when squaring two sides of an equation. That kind of seems like weird wording to me. An extraneous solution is possible when squaring two sides of an equation, but it's only going to be possible when you've got an x on the outside and on the inside. Now let's see how this works. We square both sides, and we've got ourselves a quadratic. And the good news is we've been solving quadratics fairly recently. So one way to solve quadratics is, and probably, honestly, I'll be honest, I think it's probably the best way because it can be used to solve any quadratic. I'm going to use the quadratic formula here. But to do the quadratic formula, it has to be equal to 0 first. You can either subtract the x squared over, or you can subtract these two over. I kind of like having it positive out front, so I'll go minus x minus 6. And then the quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then we'll simplify it a little bit. Negative 1, 2 on the bottom, and then up here you'll get 25. What's the square root of 25? 5. Now check this out. You're going to have two answers. One of your answers is going to be negative 1 plus 5, which is 4, divided by 2 is 2. Your other answer is going to be negative 1 minus 5, which is negative 6, divided by 2 is negative 3. And then what you got to do is you got to check them to see if they both work. You plug in 2, you're going to get 2 plus 6 is a square root of 8. Oh, did I do that right? I'm kind of wondering if I did that right. I did not do that right, class. I just noticed that one wasn't going to work, and it should have worked. I noticed I made a mistake. Can you guys find out where I made my mistake? My b value is negative 1, but I put it as a positive 1 right there. I looked there instead of here. So it's negative of a negative b. It's going to be a plus 1. So my answers aren't quite right. I'm going to get a 1 plus a 5 divided by 2. 1 plus 5 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. And I get a 1 minus 5 is negative 4, divided by 2 is negative 2. Now, if I put a 3 in, I'll get 3 plus 6, which is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 equals 3. This one checks out. This one's good. But check out this other one. It may seem okay at first. When you put the negative 2 in, you'll get 4. Square root of 4 is 2. But it needs to be negative 2. So this one does not work. Now, I'll tell you a quicker way to tell if it doesn't work. A square root can never be equal to what? A square root can never be equal to a negative. And if we put a negative 2 here, we'd have negative 2 equal to a square root. That ain't going to work. So we get to cross it out. Negative 2 was an extraneous solution. Square both sides. 4 minus 3x equals x squared. Maybe get it equal to 0. Yeah, I guess I'll be ornery. I'll put it negative x squared minus 3x plus 4 equal to 0. We could do the quadratic formula. We could also practice factoring it. There's a lot of different ways to get there. I suppose that I could do this by completing the square as well. But you know what? We'll just do the quadratic formula again. x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And we get 3, a negative 2. And over here we'll get 9 and 16. It looks like we get another 25. Yeah, we get another 25. Isn't that crazy? Square root of 25 is 5. So we're going to get 2 answers here again. 3 plus 5 is 8, divided by 2 is a negative 4. 3 minus 2 is, 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. In class, if you put a negative 4 in there, a square root cannot equal a negative 4. It's not going to work. So our answer is 1. All right, have a good day.